I've only spoken of Neil in a preliminary way because I didn't know any more than this about him then. His relation with Alan I'm not in on, and as it turned out later, Neil got tired of that, specifically queerness, and reverted to his natural ways, but that's no matter. In the month of July 1947, having finished a good half of my novel, and having saved about $50 from old veteran benefits, I got ready for the West Coast. My friend Henri Crew had written me a letter from San Francisco saying I should come out there and ship out with him on an around the world liner. He swore he could get me into the engine room. I wrote back and said I'd be satisfied with any old freighter so long as I could take a few long Pacific trips and come back with enough money to support myself and my mother's house while I finished my book. He said he had a shack in Marin City and I would have all the time in the world to write there. And when we went there, we went through the rigmarole of getting the ship. He was living with a girl called Diane. He said she was marvelous. He said she was a marvelous cook, and everything would jump. Henri was an old prep school friend and Frenchman, brought up in Paris and France, and a really mad guy. I never knew how mad. So mad at this time. So he expected me to arrive in 10 days. I wrote, and I confirmed this, in innocence of how much I'd get involved on the road. My mother was all in accord with my trip to the West. She said it would do me good. I'd been working so hard all the winter and staying in too much. She didn't even say too much when I told her I'd have to hitchhike some. Ordinarily, it frightened her. She thought this would do me good. All she wanted was for me to come back in one piece. So leaving my big half manuscript sitting on top of my desk and folding back my comfortable home sheets for the last time one morning, I left with my canvas bag, in which a few fundamental things were packed. Left a note to my mother, who was at work, and took off for the Pacific Ocean like a veritable Ishmael with $50 in my pocket. What a hang-up I got into all at once. As I look back on it, it's incredible that I could have been so damn dumb. I'd been poring over maps of the U.S. and ozone parks for months, even reading books about pioneers and savoring names like Platt, Cimarron, and so on. And on the road map was one long red line called Route 6 that led from the tip of Cape Cod clear to Ellie, Nevada, and there dip down to Los Angeles. I'll just stay on 6 all the way to Ellie, I said to myself, and I confidently started. To get to 6, I had to go up to Bear Mountain, New York, filled with dreams of what I'd do in Chicago, in Denver, and then finally in San Fran. I took the 7th Avenue subway to the end of the line at 242nd Street, right near Horace Mann, the prep school where I'd actually met Henri Crew, who I was going to see, and there took a trolley down into Yonkers, downtown Yonkers. I transferred on an outgoing trolley and went to the city limits out to the East Bank on the Hudson River. If you drop a rose in the Hudson River at its mysterious mouth up near Saratoga, think of all the places it journeys by as it goes out to sea forever. Think of that wonderful Hudson Valley. I started hitching up the thing. 5 scattered shot rides took me to the desired Bear Mountain Ridge, where Route 6 arched in from New England. I had visions of it. I never dreamed it would look like it did. In the first place, it began to rain in torrents when I was left out there. It was mountainous. 6 came from the wilderness wound and a traffic circle after crossing the bridge, that is, and disappeared again into the wilderness. Not only was there no traffic, but the rain came down in buckets and I had no shelter. I had to run under some pine trees to take cover. This did no good. I began crying and swearing and socking myself on the head for being such a damn fool. I was 40 miles north of New York. All the way up, I'd been worried about the fact that on this, my big opening day, I was only moving north instead of the desired so long for west. Now I was stuck on my northernmost hang-up. I ran a quarter mile to an abandoned cute English-style filling station and stood under the dripping eaves. High up over my head, the great hairy Bear Mountain sent down thunderclaps that put the fear of God in me. And all I could see were smoky trees and dismal wilderness rising to the skies. What the hell am I doing up here? I cursed. I cried for Chicago. Even now, they're all having a big time. They're doing things, and I'm not there. When will I get there? And so on. Finally, a car stopped at an empty filling station, and the man and the two women in it wanted to study a map. I stepped right up and gestured in the rain, and they consulted. I looked like a maniac, of course, with my hair all wet, my shoes sopping. My shoes, damn fool that I am, were Mexican guarachis that, as a fellow later told me in Wyoming, would certainly grow something if you planted them. Plant-like sieves not fit right for the rainy night of America and the whole raw road night. They let me in and rode me back to Newburgh, which I accepted as a better alternative than being trapped in Bear Mountain wilderness all night. Besides, said the man, there's no traffic passes through 6. If you want to go to Chicago, you'd be better going across the Holland Tunnel into New York and head for Pittsburgh. And I knew he was right. It was my dream that screwed up. The stupid hearthside idea that it would be wonderful to follow one great red line across America instead of trying various routes. That's my tragic route, 6. More to come of it, too.